Saturday, the Clippers trailing 3-1 in these Western Conference Finals. Now, when Ty Lue was asked about coming back down from 3-1, Richard, you know something about that. Ty said, "We beat Utah and won 4 games in a row, so this is very doable," he said. Now, remember, these Clippers are the only team ever to come back from multiple deficits, 0-2 in a single postseason. So he's got reason to be confident. The last 3-1 comeback in the conference finals was the Warriors over the Thunder in 2016, and we know everything that spiraled from that moment. You know, look, Richard, do you share Ty Lue's confidence in the Clippers, given that you have been in a locker room with him when you guys were down 3-1 in finals?
I share the confidence that he's instilling in his team, and I 100% agree with that. Now, look, we can sit here and look at Ty Lue's record and be like, oh, well, he's done this multiple times. He's come back from 3-1 before. All the things that he's done, we know what he's capable of doing. But a lot of it has to do with the belief of your team. And in this moment, he's expressing to them, when he's like, look, we beat the best team in the league with the best record. We beat them 4 games in a row. We can do this again. Now, it's one at a time, but ultimately I think Ty Lue is just giving his team confidence, and they're going to look at him as like, well, this man has done it on the biggest stage, so if he believes in us, we should believe in ourselves.
Well, I don't think it's durable, right? And Ty Lue said what he was supposed to say, and RJ was right. But, Rachel, I listened to your post-game interview with CP3, and I heard him tell you that he didn't want to talk about the 3-1 because he had bad experiences.
Yes.
So that showed me that CP3 is on a mission. So he's coming in tonight to close this game out. So I took that as if CP3 is not going to let the Phoenix Suns come out of this game tonight without a win.
This brings up something great. So Monty Williams has all of these expressions. They call them Monty-isms here. And one of his expressions that he has been saying to his team, especially in these kinds of situations, is don't get happy on the farm, meaning exactly what you're saying. Just because you're up 3-1, you're not satisfied. You should be on a mission. You should work just as hard. Kendrick, you like to break down country phrases for
I don't know
us.
what the hell that means.
Don't get happy on the farm. I know what he's getting at. Where did that, do you guys have that in Texas?
Well, no. I mean, I grew up on the farm, and I never heard of that. Maybe that's on another farm, but, you know, only things I heard was things that I told you guys and shared with you numerous of times is, God bless his heart, baby. He don't know no better. That's the only thing I heard.
Monty grew up on an East Coast farm, so maybe that's the difference a little bit. There you go. Well, I certainly, this is a different situation. As much as I respect Ty Lue so much, his record, you're right, Richard, if you look at his particular record of coming back when his teams are down in a series, it is phenomenal. But guess what is different from when they run 4 straight against Utah?
Yeah.
They don't have Kawhi Leonard.
They don't have LeBron James or Richard Jefferson.
Say it again.
They don't have the Kawhi that helped them get past Utah. They don't have the Kawhi Leonard that had that spectacular game in Dallas that helped them come back in that series. It is a different beast this time. We will see what happens tonight. All right, coming up, whether they make the finals or not, it will be a tight turnaround for the Olympics for Devin Booker, Chris Middleton, and Drew Holiday. How much of a cause for concern is that? The Olympic roster for Team USA was announced. We'll get into it. First, though, time for our distant replay. This date, 2007. KD drafted by the Sonics. Bring back the Sonics. Bring back the Sonics.
Please. Please.
With the second pick in the 2007 NBA draft, the Seattle Supersonics select Kevin Durant from the University of Texas.
This young man from Sweetland, Maryland, who is still age 18, went to Texas for 1 year, was the consensus National Player of the Year. No freshman ever has been the consensus National Player of the Year.
Kevin Durant's favorite quote is, "Hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard." What does that quote mean to you, Kevin?
It means no matter how good you are, if you don't work hard, nothing will happen for you.
This time doesn't care if you're great.
Blocked by James!
It cares if you're the greatest. If you want to be a part of it, now is your time. Because all time is at stake.
So, Richard, at the top of the show, you took the super bold stance.
Yes.
With the Suns already up 3-1 in the Western Conference Finals,
but that's not
that you were going to ride with Phoenix.
But I didn't just ride with them to get to the conference finals. I was like, yo, I'm going to go all the way and say they're going to win a championship.
They're going to be the higher, no matter who wins in the East, they'd be the highest seed. So again,
doesn't matter.
Again,
But the lack of experience. You got the Milwaukee Bucks. You got the two-time MVP over there.
Perk,
I think they're going to make it.
Boldness?
No one cares what Perk. No one cares what Perk says.
I just want to know why is he being so sassy with it?
Like, no, I'm just telling you. This is Arizona. There's a lot of Arizona here, right? If you're not from here, this heat doesn't hit you the right way. You just don't understand it.
Do I count?
You get it. You get it.
I was born in Phoenix.
Country boy doesn't.
Okay. Then you don't have to say it.
I appreciate it. It's a make or miss league.
He better believe it tonight.
Make fastballs. Crunch time and Staples. I felt very bad for Boogie Cousins. You're not in this situation that often. He was supposed to intentionally miss the free throw, so he threw it off the backboard. He did not remember it is supposed to touch the rim.
Did he not remember, or did he just misfire and try to shoot it off the front rim?
No. It was pretty. To me, it looked pretty intentionally going where it went. It just shouldn't have gone there.
I mean, here he goes. God bless his heart, baby. He didn't know no better.
I know, but okay. I will. Only thing I'm going to say is that it was a terrible throw. But when you give an offensive lineman the ball and say throw a touchdown to win the game, like you're setting yourself up for failure.
Well, he can shoot. Boogie can shoot.
Horrible.
Don't pretend.
I'm not saying Boogie can't shoot. What I'm saying is the goal is to have it ricochet in such a crazy way. So he threw it and he just.
Would you really looking at your iPad to come up with that?
No.
PJ Tucker with the rock in transition through the alley-oop to Giannis, but it actually went in. Perk.
I mean, this is what happens when you're not used to scoring the basketball, right? He's not a passer. This guy is the primary defender, and it just happened. When you play hard, great things happen.
But he's another good three-point shooter.
Really? That's what you came up with, Perk?
Yeah.
That's what you came up with, Perk? Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing.
Rachel,
it was just a terrible pass.
That's not his
one terrible pass.
Okay, but it went in.
Rachel,
yes, it went in, but that wasn't the goal. Like Boogie was trying to hit the rim, and it didn't. That wasn't his goal to try and throw it straight off the backboard.
He's a great three-point shooter for them corner.
Yes. No, corner three.
Oh,
His little
here
office,
we go.
that corner three.
That's what you're going to stay with?
Make Inspector Gadget Bucks again in transition. Look at Giannis taking off from the dotted line and stretching for the dunk.
We've never seen anything like that.
Is this like a little Space Jam dunk there from Michael Jordan?
That's like Dr. J. That's like Dr. J.
It's only one person in the league that can do that, and it's Giannis.
Yeah, I agree. Anthony Davis.
And he knocked in a three-pointer last night.
Maybe. But
a cold one, too. I think it was nothing but net, that three.
No, we don't. We try not to talk about his threes because we don't want to encourage it.
He was 1-2, 50%. That's a good percentage.
But that's not where he is at his most dominant and best.
Two three-point attempts is kind of what you want.
Agreed.
Right? You don't want none.
Agreed.
But you don't want 8.
Yeah, because you don't want to bench him for shooting 8.
That dunk was wild. All right, I want to switch gears to Team USA now. Managing Director Jerry Colangelo said Devin Booker expressed, quote, a great desire to play for USA Basketball and told them he would join the day after the finals if the Suns made it that far. The same is expected for Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday if the Bucks make it to the NBA Finals. We've never had a turnaround like this, Richard. And as a former Olympian yourself, ask him, Kendrick, ask him how he did in the Olympics.
Well, a few people with an Olympic medal. I might be the only person with an Olympic medal on this stage.
Well,
That is true.
To be honest with you,
What color is it?
I turned down the invite.
It was bronze, but I had it dipped in gold. Beautiful.
That's nice. Thanks for doing our country proud.
I actually had an invite right after we won the 2008 championship, Rondo and myself, and I turned it down, and it was the worst mistake of my life.
I could have told you
It was the worst mistake of my life. I turned it down because I was
you thought it was too tight.
Yeah, it was too tight.
Even
So
then.
I would encourage Devin Booker and Drew Holiday. Look, I know you may be tired, but y'all have enough offensive firepower that you won't be playing a lot of minutes.
Now, let me say this. Representing your country is one of the great opportunities, regardless if you do great, you succeed, whatever.
come in under expectations and spark an entire revamp of the whole program.
You're welcome. How on earth can we look at the teams that went the furthest in the bubble, that had the shortest amount of layoff, that also struggled through the postseason, the Boston Celtics, Miami Heat, the Los Angeles Lakers, all of these teams that really struggled. I'm not trying to discourage them from going again because you don't know what's going to happen in another 4 years. That being said, they need to expect that they will be exhausted. You have to look at your history to know what's going to happen in the future. So all of these teams that have players that are going to be participating in this, especially teams that have their stars, it reminds me of the bubble. You play in the bubble, you go to the end, you keep playing more basketball. How is this team going to be able to sustain another run all the way through the finals when the Laker team is rested, Golden State Warrior team is rested, Utah Jazz is rested?
Well, you mentioned the Warriors. So before COVID, when we expected the Tokyo Olympics to be last year, both Steph and Clay expressed interest in going. Steph, in fact, told me in an interview, he said, yeah, I want to go, sign me up, right? And then he was so excited about it. Considering all the injury issues that team has had, they both decided this time, since it was going to be in this time frame, and next season, guys, is going to start, quote, on time. So this season started on Christmas, 2 days before Christmas Day. This season will start at the end of October, as we have had in the past. So I was a little surprised to see Draymond Green on this Olympic roster, given that Clay and Steph took that stuff into account that you're saying.
Go ahead and bolster that Hall of Fame resume, Draymond. Go ahead and bolster it. I said, come on, man, Dre. I respect it. I know what you're doing.
Good
man.
for him, though.
Great for him. I respect it.
I'm actually glad that he's actually a part of it and not a replacement.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Draymond understands big picture. He's one of the smarter guys out there. Like, this man is building a Hall of Fame career. Now, if your individual stats aren't there, you better make sure that your team and all of the success that you want individually is there.
I don't know if that's why he's doing it, but I do know that he has shown himself to be very Gundy, Mark Jackson. It's the whole crew. We are live in Phoenix. You can see the court being put together ahead of Game 5.
About that valley, dog.
Woo!
You know about that valley, man.
This court is one of my favorite courts.
Yeah.
Woo!
Man.
The Suns can eliminate the Clippers, of course, with a win tonight. Welcome back to The Jump. I'm Rachel Nichols. Still here on site, Richard Jefferson in his shiny shoes.
Yep.
Kendrick Perkins, thank you for being here. Let's get to the coaching carousel. Yeah, Come on, put that up out there.
Big round blueberry.
I look good,
though. Over the weekend, the Blazers hired Chauncey Billups as their head coach. He was one of the names previously endorsed by Damian Lillard, of course. Now, there was some backlash online for Lillard. Dame said he was not aware of previous allegations against Chauncey Billups, which, by the way, no charges were ever brought. Important to keep saying that. Yesterday, Yahoo Sports reported that the backlash to Lillard, along with his concerns of whether a title team can be built in Portland, are factors that could lead him to ask out eventually. Richard, that is a lot. How can the Blazers keep Dame happy?
Well, one, I want to talk about the backlash. One, Dame gets asked a question. These are names that were out in the coaching search. Like, Dame, you are too good to allow. I saw one of his interactions and that he quote tweeted the person is a Raptors fan. Don't let somebody that's not in your house dictate what goes on in your house, right? And so from that standpoint, you should really just focus in on what's going on within the Portland Trailblazer community. In my opinion, the next step about it is, what does he think about this hire, right? If you're worried about the backlash, that's one thing. If you're worried about can they build a championship contender, now we're talking about real tangible stuff. And I think they have the talent. I think they have the fan base. I think they have all the things necessary. They're just one or two pieces away, and I think that's what they need to focus on.
Well, RJ, I disagree with you on one point because everybody handles things differently,
Agreed.
Right? So you may keep quiet. Dame is a guy that's outspoken, right? He has albums that he's dropped. We watched him go back and forth with Shaquille O'Neal on a rap battle. So Dame is not going to hold back. You come at Dame, he's going to come at you. Now, you're right. The organization asked him who he wanted, and he put two names out there, J. Kidd and Chauncey Billups. Here's the thing. I do think they can get better. I do think that they can make Dame happy for the simple fact that a new voice in the locker room changes everything. We just witnessed that with the Atlanta Hawks. They got rid of Coach Lloyd. All of a sudden, Coach Nate McMillan comes in.
Clippers.
The Clippers. The Hawks start playing completely different. Trae Young started playing completely different. Agenda-free basketball. You need someone like Chauncey that's going to be able to hold these guys accountable on the defensive side of things. Remember, the Portland Trail Blazers couldn't guard a caged dog. They ranked close to dead last defensively. They did. They never struggled with scoring. They just couldn't guard anybody. So you bring Chauncey in there. What can you tell Chauncey if he holds somebody accountable? He could go toe-to-toe with Dame.
Yeah.
Right? He could go toe-to-toe with CJ. He could get the best out of Big Nurkic and say, don't ask for the ball on the block. Do your job. Rebound, block shots, roll to the basket.
Well, I agree. I completely agree. I just, when I was more referencing not Dame to not be outspoken, but it's just like, you don't let people do I ever give you advice of what's going on inside your home if you didn't ask me? No, exactly. So that's all I'm saying.
It's not our home, Mark.
It is, but that is his home. When you're dealing with outrage on Twitter, which we all know about is a very slippery slope, I don't want to hear it from a Raptors fan that like this. And so that was my thing about the outrage. Sometimes we got to take that with a grain of salt.
I do think that coaching can really change a roster, even, quote, the same roster. Mm-hmm. The Atlanta Hawks are a fantastic example. This is a team that wasn't even in playoff bracket contention months into the regular season, and then suddenly they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. And you can see, too, it kind of puts the lie to, if that guy was on someone's staff, because, again, the Clippers and Hawks are great examples that there can be a coaching shift even when someone's on that staff. Chauncey Billups, to me, is a Hall of Famer. I think he should be in the Hall. Preach. I watched that man up close win a Finals MVP. He is a leader. He is someone that I watch now on the Clippers. He has changed the game of several players. He has been teaching Paul George to play point guard. I think that there are so many things that Chauncey is going to bring to the table that Dame specifically and that whole team in general will really, really respond to. I'm excited to see what happens here. It's going to be fun. I do think they're going to need some help from the front office, and I'm curious to see what the front office does for them, because the roster does need some upgrading, and we'll see if they can, work the magic there. We'll have to find out. Carousel continues to spin, though. It's not just Portland, because this time we're ending up in Orlando. The Athletic reporting former Magic guard and current Memphis Tigers head coach Penny Hardaway is, quote, a serious candidate for the job. Penny played 6 seasons in Orlando, was an all-star in 4 of them. Perk, is Penny a good potential fit in Orlando?
Yes, I believe he is. And just watching his whole coaching, like from where he started from in high school, right? Winning championships in Memphis, to going to the University of Memphis and help building that program back up. I think the way that the direction that the Orlando Magic is going in with that young core, you need a young guy, a young coach that played the game at a high level that these guys could relate to. That's all that matters now, especially a guy like Penny Hardaway. Bring back Lil Penny, whatever the case may be. But with that young nucleus, they need a voice like Penny Hardaway.
I couldn't agree more. You've seen a lot of names bounced around. You see a lot of names bounced around with them, whether it's Jamal Mosley, who's the assistant coach in Dallas, Penny Hardaway, who I really like. One of the reasons why I like Penny is because when we put that list up of all of the features of all of, like Indiana, Dallas, like all of the jobs, Orlando had 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm not saying that they don't have 10. No, but I'm saying not that we're looking like, here we go.
They've got Bradley Beal.
No,
They've got Zion.
They've got 2 top 10 picks. One thing is that you need a coach that's going to come in and be like, hey, we're going to build. We're going to develop. But great job on the graphic. Whoever pulled that up, because I didn't tell him I was going to say it.
Michael
so that was
Schwartz,
great. Michael,
the
Schwartz is with you. Like, that is outstanding.
And then director Kathy knew when to put it in there.
All time. But my point is that when you have a young franchise that is going through a rebuild, they got rid of Vucevic, so they're starting kind of from scratch with some young talent. Bring in a coach that can learn for 3-4 years, that can grow with this group. And I think Penny Hardaway is a great name because he will build excitement. Even if your team's not great, like, there's a nostalgia. Nostalgia is very strong for Penny Hardaway and Shaq and what they did.
In layman's terms, what RJ is saying, since he always want to go back to Arizona, is that he's going to give the organization swag to the younger generation. God, man, you got to touch everybody.
I know that when the coaching search was happening in Arizona,
that was that. That's a fair. That's I did not discuss that. I'm happy with our hire.
There you go. Coming up, we're going to talk about Trae Young, because he is indeed questionable for Game 4 with a bone bruise in his right foot. Just the worst luck, right? Yeah. And you can't even blame the official. He was mostly out of bounds. Like, it's just bad.